Welcome back to another video from AET Motorsport and VUDU Garage. As you can see behind me, we have an Audi RS3 8P. Now, this particular model belongs to a good friend of the business. He's brought all his cars to us for a number of years now. Strangely enough, we built a really good relationship based on the first 8P model that he brought to us, which was an S3, where we had to drill an hole in his bonnet, so that was fun. But we managed to replace it, get it tuned, and that car is still running strong now. I think he sold it to a friend. So on this particular model, we're going to run with an intake kit, which we'll look at shortly, and one of our ECU and TCU calibrations with VUDU Performance. Interestingly, this car, which I'm about to run up stock, so we'll test it against the Audi quoted figures, which is 340 PS as they say it, and 450 Newton meters. So let's jump inside and have a look and see what it's actually making. As we've seen just there, we have run the car up stock. You've seen Callum data logging it. Having looked at the data logs, everything's as it should be, and the graph behind me suggests that this car is more or less bang on stock figures. We've picked up 318 at the wheels stock, which with a 10% correction, which is what I'd roughly work off on a front wheel drive car, we're expecting that to be right around 349 horsepower at the engine, which, given that it's a 340 horsepower model carrying a induction kit, I also didn't mention that this has got the awesome Miltech exhaust on it, which is why it sounds so good. So ultimately, with those two things working in harmony, we've seen about 9 horsepower over stock. The other interesting fact is that we've got 330 foot-pounds of torque. Now, if you convert that into Newton meters, which is what the manufacturers quote, it's 447. They actually quote 450. So as it stands, data logs look fantastic, graph's really good, and the power is exactly where it should be for a stock car. So we're now going to proceed to tune it to stage 1. So a couple of things to go through on our dyno cell and what we're going to need or what's required to tune this car. So probably the first thing that you're going to notice is here we have a pack, is what we would call that, but as you can see, we've got a hub dyno. This is a decision that we took because it's far more accurate than a rolling road. There's no real fibbing once you're on this dyno. It is what it is. Tyre pressures, differences in tyre pressures, differences in how hard it's strapped down and things like that, they can't make a difference. It simply is, once it's on there, you're getting the figures up there and that's it. The only things that make differences in here are the ambient temperatures, which ultimately is controlled. So we do actually tell the dyno with this here. That's a temperature probe to tell the dyno what the ambient temperature is, so it can calculate accordingly. But on a turbocharged vehicle, we're always going to struggle with charge temperatures if the ambients are up. So we're going to need that. Round here, we've got one of our many laptops that we use. This, believe it or not, a lot of the time when you go to get a car tuned and you see a mapper pull his laptop out and you think, man, that looks like something from the 70s. Well, that's because all these new systems are very difficult to get the tuning tools to work with. This particular car we're going to do with VAGCOM, because it's only stage 1, we don't need to patch the ECU. And then finally we're going to tune it using CMD. So we've now got the stage 1 completed on this car, and as you can see behind me, we've got some pretty impressive figures. This thing is going to drive epic on the road, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to get it on the ground and actually take it out. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I've got my GoPro today, which is good news because we're going to see some in-car stuff, and hopefully Callum's going to be able to spare a little bit of time to come with me so that I can get some outside footage, because it really does sound good with that Miltech on. But to touch on the figures, so that everybody knows what we're making out of a stage 1, which is very, very strong is this car, we're seeing an increase of 60 wheel horsepower, so we're up at 380 at the wheels. So working on a 10% correction factor, that's right around 419 horsepower. So I think for a stage 1, as far as I'm aware, that's really good, very strong, and it's really consistent. We've done about 10 runs whilst we've been filming, and all of them have been within a few horsepower, and that's probably the most important thing with this platform or any other platform, is trying to get the consistency. It's all well and good having a car that does a super single pull on the dyno, known as a dyno queen, where it's making tons and tons of power, but it only does that for one run because it gets super hot. So we could turn this car up, we'd probably make a little bit more, but the following run the ECU protection side would do exactly what it's supposed to do and pull it all back because of heat. I'm going to get Callum in here now because I'm too old to be taking things on and off the dyno, so he's going to take it off. It typically needs some fuel now as well, so we'll go down, put some 99 in it, which is what we've tuned it to. We only recommend Shell, V-Power or Tesco 99. I have tested the SO99 stuff, but I'm loath to put out the results just yet, although I do think it's pretty promising, so that will come in a later video. So we're going to get this thing on the ground, let's go out for a little drive about. So, I'm finally going to get to take this car out. Usually I would check the data logs with Callum, and he gets the fun bit of going out and testing the car, especially when we've done tuning on it. If it's fitting parts and things like that, it's always nice to see what you've done, but it's more from a, you know, making sure the customer goes away and doesn't have any problems. However, today I've spoken to the customer and he said, yeah, no problem, Nick, I know you'll look after it, so just take it out and have a blast around if you want, and see what you think of it. So we're going to head up onto the dual carriageway. It's good weather for it, we've got good conditions in terms of road, and you know what we've had recently with ice and whatnot. It's been no good really for testing cars, it's been difficult. So luckily we've got the dyno cell to do things in a controlled environment when it's not very good. Absolutely phenomenal. I hope he's selling this car. Man. You can see why people like these so much. And luckily they've brought another one out, so it's not quite a dying model yet, so to speak. They're still on 5-cylinder in the 8Y, so this is a 8P, sort of 2011 to 2013 I think they did this. Then they went to the 8V, but the pre-facelift doesn't make quite as much power as the facelift on a tune. Then they went to the facelift, which is the one that you see all the boys with the big 1000 horsepower TTRSs and stuff ripping up Santa Pod, and you know, guys over in America doing big numbers on them, and I can absolutely understand why. This makes me want to buy the 8Y model, which is the latest revision of RS3 that's just come out that they've not cracked the ECU for yet. This makes me want to get rid of that Golf 8, get into one of them and get cracking with that as soon as it's unlocked, because it is just nuts. I mean, we'll just see if we can get a first gear going up here whilst we've got nobody around. Spun up then all fours. That spun up and lit the traction control up in all fours then. That is crackers, absolutely nuts.
I tell you what, it'd be a nice everyday car to, if you could afford to do it, it'd be a really nice everyday car to that Porsche of mine. That would be amazing. And I can see why lots of people that do have a high power, you know, supercar, R8, Porsche, Lamborghini, whatever, if they're in a position to, they then put an RS3 on the drive, or the wife runs an RS3 that they use most of the time. Totally understand that. So now that I'm let's have a little look and see what we've got through the twisties. This is a good road, I know this road. So confident in that you can put your foot flat down and let the Haldex system do its work. And I suppose if we were on a circuit where it's smooth and all the rest of it, in something like this you'd be able to almost get it to rotate, point it at the apex, and then just pin it and let it ride out to the outside. It feels that good. Let's see what people would like to see me review next, or tune and review, which I think is a nice niche that we don't really see much on YouTube. There's people rebuilding cars, there's people building massive power stuff, but it's the people that are actually the ones doing the work, tuning the car on the dyno, and then taking it out and reviewing their own work, if you like, enjoying the fruits of their labour. I don't think there's anybody doing that on YouTube right now, so you know, I hope people enjoy it, and I hope that it's a good thing for people to get involved with. And you know, I'd like to hear from you and tell me what you want me to tune and what you want me to review. We're doing so many different makes and models now that, you know, within reason, I'm pretty confident we can speak to a customer and say, look, once we've tuned your car, can we borrow it for the day and do a really cool video? People seem to like that, so it's literally me tuning stuff, enjoying it and filming it. So yeah, drop a comment, drop me an email, drop me a call. And besides that, if you do want work carrying out, please get in touch with my team.